Over the past 10 years, we've seen some devastating celebrity deaths, often in really unfortunate circumstances. People die every decade, sure, but this particular one brought along a shocking mix of artists, celebrities, and innovators, leaving us with their beautiful memories. We've had to bid our goodbyes to way too many stars, way too soon, but some of these deaths just hit harder than others. Here's our Fact Factory video with 20 celebrities that passed away this decade. Number 20. CORY MONTEITH. CORY MONTEITH was a Canadian actor best known for his role as Finn in the TV show Glee. He was one of the leads of the show and cast alongside Lea Michele, who he ended up dating and later even got engaged to. CORY had substance abuse problems and he self-admitted to rehab several times. July 13, 2013, CORY was found dead at the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel in Vancouver. When the police arrived, he was declared dead on the scene. He was only 31 years old at the time of his death. Number 19. Tim Bergling, AVICII. Tim Bergling, better known as AVICII, was a Swedish DJ. He had been in the music industry since 2006 and had several hits, and his songs were almost always in the top 100s. He was always trending on the international charts worldwide, and in the first 10 years of his career, AVICII spent a lot of time touring across the world. In 2016, he retired from touring, saying that it was severely exhausting and affecting his mental health, but kept working on music. On 20 April 2018, at the age of 28, he was found dead in a hotel in Muscat, Oman. The official cause of death was blood loss from an injury, and the Omani police said that there was no foul play, but ever since his death, there have been rumors about him being a target of the child trafficking industry, as he was very vocal against them. However, there has never been any proof. Number 18. HUGH HEFNER. HUGH HEFNER was the founder and editor-in-chief of the infamous Playboy magazine. His provocative company and lifestyle were famous for decades. There were articles and documentaries about him, his Playboy mansion, and his life. He was the man men wanted to be like. But of course, there was only one HUGH HEFNER. He passed away in his California home at the age of 91 on September 27, 2017, after getting sepsis from an E. coli infection. He even made his burial one people would envy. He is buried right next to Marilyn Monroe, a spot he bought for himself for $75,000 back in 1992. He spent his life around beautiful women, and now he's buried next to one. Number 17. Cameron Boyce. Cameron Boyce was a young actor that had been in front of the camera pretty much his entire life. He started off his acting career at the age of 9 when he was casted as a child actor in a Panic at the Disco music video. He appeared in a few TV shows afterwards, but then landed a long-term role in the Disney show Jessie as Luke. After the show ended, he went on to be casted in the ongoing Disney series Descendants and was part of the permanent cast. His career had only been getting bigger and bigger ever since his first appearance, and it seemed like it would keep growing, when suddenly, July 6, 2019, he was found dead in his home. Even though the paramedics arrived at the scene, he was pronounced dead. His family revealed later that he had been dealing with an ongoing medical condition for the past few years, and his death was after he had suffered a seizure because of it. He was 20 years old at the time of his death. Number 16. Chester Bennington. Chester Bennington was one of the biggest names in the world, not just the music industry. He was the lead singer in the infamous band Linkin Park and had been winning the hearts of people for decades. He was an advocate for mental health and even mentioned it several times through his songs. He battled depression and mental illness issues throughout his life and ultimately lost against it at the end. On July 20th, 2017, he was found dead in his home by his housekeeper. He died at the age of 41. Number 15. KASEM. People who might not even know his name would know his voice. KASEM was an American DJ, music historian, radio personality, actor, and voice actor. He was the host of the infamous American Top 40 show. If that doesn't ring a bell, he also voiced Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo franchise. Towards the end of his life, he was dealing with Lewy body dementia. When his condition got too bad, his wife wanted him to be cared for at home, where he would be most comfortable. On July 15, 2014, at the age of 82, he died from a combination of the disease and sepsis caused by ulcerated bed sores. Number 14. Mac Miller. Mac Miller was an American singer, rapper, songwriter, and record producer. Although he wasn't one of those people with decades of work under his belt, he still made quite a name for himself. He started off at the age of 15 and became one of the most popular stars in the music industry, not just in America, but also worldwide. He had dated singer Ariana Grande for a few years as well, but the two broke up in 2018. Shortly after, on September 7, 2018, his assistant found him unresponsive in his home. She performed CPR on him until the paramedics got there, but it didn't save him. He was pronounced dead at the scene at only 26 years old. Number 13. George Michael. George Michael was one of the most successful musicians of all time. He started off as a part of the duo Wham, but also had a very successful solo career as well. He had over 10 albums and sold over 80 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music artists of all time. On Christmas morning 2016, Michael didn't wake up. He was found dead in his bed by his partner, and it was later revealed that he died from heart disease and fatty liver at 59 years old. Number 12. Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers wore many hats. She was a comedian, actress, writer, producer, and television host. She was known for her quick, dark humor that was unmatched. There was literally no one like her. She had been in the industry for decades but never lost her charm. Although she was a beautiful woman, she became somewhat obsessed with plastic surgery. She had so many procedures done that she once said, "I've had so much plastic surgeries that when I die, I'll donate my body to Tupperware." But who would have thought that she would end up dying on the operating table one day? She was going through a minor throat operation on August 28, 2014, when she stopped breathing. She was put on life support shortly after, but died on September 4th. It was found later that there were several mistakes on the hospital's part, and the negligence took her life. She was 81 years old at the time of her death. Number 11. Anton Yelchin. Anton Yelchin was one of the stars that shined through the Star Trek franchise. He played the role of Pavel Chekhov in the Star Trek movies, and was even part of the Taken miniseries. His unique voice even landed him the role of Clumsy Smurf in the Smurfs movie. On June 18, 2016, he was scheduled to be at a rehearsal, but he never showed up. When the day passed, a friend of his went over to his house and found him dead outside. His car had rolled off his very steep driveway and trapped him against the pillar and a security fence, killing him. The official cause of death was blunt traumatic asphyxia. Anton died tragically at only 27 years old. Number 10. Alan Thicke. Alan Thicke was a star that all the 80s and 90s kids grew up with. He was a part of the cast of Growing Pains Returns, and was even in How I Met Your Mother, and at least 45 other shows and movies. Along with being an actor, he was also a songwriter, game and talk show host, and the father of the singer Robin Thicke. On December 13, 2016, he went to play ice hockey with his son, Carter, at Pickwick Gardens in Burbank, California. When he got there, he joked about the potential of him needing to be wheeled out on a stretcher because he was 69 years old, which is what ended up happening. Alan collapsed on the rink while playing. He had suffered a type A aortic dissection, and his heart stopped. He was pronounced dead at Providence St. Joseph Medical Center in Burbank later that day. Number 9. Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher was one of the biggest actresses the world had ever seen. How could she not be? She was Princess Leia from Star Wars. She was an insanely talented actress, and proved so in all of the roles she ever took on. She was nominated for several awards, won a Grammy, and was even named Disney Legend in 2017. Alongside acting, she was also a talented writer, and her book sold out worldwide. Just as she had finished a section of her book tour, Carrie boarded a flight from London on December 23, 2016, but never got off it. She stopped breathing and was put onto a ventilator once the flight landed in LA, but she never woke up. Carrie died in the hospital 4 days later at the age of 60. Number 8. Debbie Reynolds. Debbie Reynolds is one of the most prominent names in the American entertainment industry. She was an actress, a singer, a songwriter, and even a businesswoman, a one and all. Her career spanned over the course of 70 years. She was loved by people across 3 generations with all of the work she had done, but she was also a mother, Carrie Fisher's mother. Unable to bear the loss of her daughter, Debbie suffered a severe stroke and passed away one day after Carrie's passing, on December 28, 2016, at the age of 84. Some of her final words were, "I want to be with Carrie." Number 7. Luke Perry. Luke Perry was one of the biggest actors in the 90s, with his iconic role of Dylan McKay on the TV show Beverly Hills 90210. He was on the series for 7 years and garnered an insanely huge audience through it. After the show ended, he appeared in several movies and TV shows too, but the most notable appearance was his final role as Fred Andrews on the CW show Riverdale. On February 27, 2019, Luke Perry suffered a massive ischemic stroke that landed him in the hospital. While he was admitted, he suffered another, and on March 4, 2019, passed away at the age of 52. Number 6. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston rose to fame in the 1980s. She was a superstar. When you think of the biggest music stars in the world, she's one of the most prominent names that comes to mind. That's also why in 2006, Guinness World Records certified her as the most awarded female artist of all time. On February 11, 2012, Whitney, when she was still working on her music, she was found dead in her Beverly Hills hotel bathroom. She had accidentally drowned in the bathtub and had an underlying heart condition. Her death at the age of 48 is one that many people still can't get over. Number 5. Paul Walker. Paul Walker was one of the most notable actors through the 90s and 2000s. He was part of the permanent cast in one of the largest movie franchises of all time, Fast and Furious. In the movies, he would always be in fast chases and races. Speed was his thing, but it was also what cut his life short. On November 30th, 2013, he and his friend were coming back from a charity event when their car crashed into a lamppost and then into 2 trees and caught on fire. Walker died from a combination of the trauma of the accident and the fire. He was 40 years old at the time of his death. Number 4. Alan Rickman. The Harry Potter movies dominated the 2000s and the 2010s. One of the most memorable characters of the franchise has to be Severus Snape, the character of Alan Rickman. Even though most people know him because of the Harry Potter movies, he was already a massively famous actor before that. He has been named as one of the top 100 movie stars of all time and had a massive following. In August of 2015, Rickman suffered a massive stroke that had him hospitalized. When he was there, the doctors found out that he had terminal cancer. On January 14, 2014, cancer took his life. He was 69 years old at the time. Number 3. James Gandolfini. The Sopranos was one of the biggest shows ever made. It ran for 8 years, and James Gandolfini was the lead character, Tony Soprano. This was a role he became most widely known for, although he had several other roles under his belt too, many of which he even received awards for. He was pretty much receiving awards until the end of his life. On June 19, 2013, he was spending a day in Rome with his family before they were scheduled to fly to Sicily for the Taormina Film Festival, where James was supposed to receive another award. After a day of sightseeing in Rome, his 14-year-old son found him unconscious in the bathroom. He was rushed to a hospital but died shortly after. He had suffered a heart attack and died at the age of 51. Number 2. Robin Williams. Robin Williams was one of the most loved people on earth, not just for his acting, but for the type of person he was. People who knew him referred to him as one of the nicest people they had ever met. With roles in movies like Popeye, Mrs. Doubtfire, The Genie in Aladdin, and the Night at the Museum franchise, he held a place in everyone's heart throughout the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. That's what made his death so shocking. Robin Williams had been dealing with Lewy body dementia, a brain disorder that progressively gets worse and worse. Not only does this have an effect on your body, but also your mental health. On August 11, 2014, news came out that Robin had died at the age of 64 by taking his own life. Number 1. David Bowie. David Bowie was a British singer, songwriter, and actor from England, named one of the most influential musicians in the 20th century. The man was a musical genius. There was no one like him. His dramatic musical transformations were those that can never be outdone. Safe to say, he was one of a kind. He dominated the music industry ever since he first began in 1962. His first album came out in 1969, and his final one on his 69th birthday. 2 days later, on January 10, 2016, he lost his battle against liver cancer and passed away in his home in New York. That's a wrap on our list of all the celebrities that passed away this decade. Since 2020 was pretty much a whole decade in 1 year, we need a whole video dedicated to it. Our next Fact Factory video will cover the celebrities that passed in 2020 only. Let us know if there's anyone that you'd like to see on that list. To catch that and our other videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.